Get yourself above that, but at the same time, I think we got a little bit more even group, so maybe a little bit less than 48
There's a little bit of
points.
a caution as well down. So the ninth was 30 or 32. And so it's that area we're looking for. So if you get 35 plus points, you're basically safe.
Yeah, definitely so. Looking at this first game here, Team Liquid only in 14th place. A bit of a surprise, I suppose, but how do you look at that, Froz?
Well, they got pushed out of Pachinko, and they chose not to go there because you have Enter Sports, you have Genesis going there already. They don't want to be a third team in there, so they went north side of it instead, into poor man's Pachinko.
Which is actually very interesting when you think about 2019 as a whole here, Toffees, because we've heard multiple times from Team Liquid in international events, etc., and things like that, that they are going Pachinko. They are going to fight people in Pachinko and try and claim it for the global finals. And we're here, and they're not doing it right now.
I mean, remember Face It Global Summit where they said the whole point of us sort of not having a chance to win this and just committing to Pachinko is to secure it for the World Championships, and now they've walked away. But sometimes the willingness to walk away is the better part of valor. Will it pay off for them as we go through this day? Will they prove to be the bigger men here? I can't wait to see.
It's a mature move. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. We are heading over to the commentator team once again. It's Erangel as we get into game number 2 here of PGC Day 2.
Yes, thank you very much, boys. We are back here at the console desk, and we're heading into game number 2 very, very shortly. Game 2 for day 2 of Group 2. I told you I'd do that.
It was a little surprising there for that first game. We were expecting maybe a little more fighting early on, but it seems like a lot of the teams kind of realizing the pressure of this moment were playing it a little more safe. Liquid backed off. We saw QM back off. So a couple of teams that weren't really willing to kind of, roll the dice and go for it.
Fighting in specific places too, right? We thought we were going to see the Battle of Pachinko. We thought we were going to see Atletico and QM in Rozhok. In the end, QM actually decided to vacate Rozhok. Not that it did any good for Atletico. We actually saw pretty interesting circle shifts. Obviously going up north for phase number 1 and then back down south and south again for 2, 3, and 4. So anything can happen, anything can throw up. But these guys were amazing. A Freak of Freaks fatal. They were aggressive after their very passive rotations. Once they got to the spot they needed to be, they did the work.
My big question going forward for the Freaks, can they maintain this? Can they continue to do this? I've seen them start this way before and then kind of falter as time goes on. I want to see them continue to put the gas pedal down. Just keep going, don't stop. I love what I'm seeing. I love their idea of figuring out where teams were going and really going for a studious scrim instead of just competing for location, because I think they're pretty comfortable dropping in a couple different spots throughout the year. They've done the Mill to Power area, they've done Ferry Pier, there's been probably a few others that I can't remember, but they're comfortable dropping anywhere along that southern coast of the main continent.
So TSM, 4AM, of course OGN, Entis Force, who were amongst the action as well, down to the late game. Indigo, it's Kale getting amongst it too, which is probably good to see for them as a team, that it wasn't really like Indigo leading the way. He wasn't sort of overshadowing the rest of the team and the rest of the roster. We are underway now for game number 2 here today for Group 2 of Day 2. Let's go.
And it's when Force is at their best, to continue with that, is when they're fighting as a team, when they're working as a unit. It's not going to be one player that's, making a splash for them. It's a lot of times going to be an all-around effort. And 8 points for them, that's basically their average on this map, so they're playing right about where they should be.
I mean, if they can get 8 points average per game, history says that's more than good enough for qualifying into the top 8, realistically speaking. 5 or 6 points a game is required to make the top 8 towards the end of the day. Currently in 8th position right now is 4 points. So for those that are in the bottom 8 right now, still a lot to play for, obviously with 5 games remaining. Yes, you had a bad game number 1, but now you've got to turn things around here, because if you don't turn things around here for game number 2, you're going to find yourself going into the halfway mark game and not looking good.
Absolutely. It looks like we are going to once again have Genesis and Force contesting Pachinko. Now, Kale's down there pretty early. A lot of times we saw in the scrims Genesis out parachuting the other teams just a little bit, but it looks like Force has adjusted and gotten themselves down just a little bit ahead of Genesis this time. And this is Atletico still, Rozhok all to themselves.
Yep.
Xenox,
yeah, again, QM have decided to vacate Rozhok, and look, they weren't winning. QM were not winning the Rozhok battle in scrims, so it's not too much of a surprise. And for Etis Force and Genesis, like, it's been pretty friendly, at least off the first game. We'll see if that continues here, although Doya taking a few shots down the main street. Etis Force ended up just sort of vacating first after looting for a while. But I do wonder if they get close enough, if it could really explode into a proper 4v4, or if it maybe turns into one of those things where it's like whoever steps out of line and crosses the other team's territory, they get taken out, and then everyone sort of just dissipates.
Right, it's like those situations in those comedy movies when you're two kids growing up and you gotta, you know, tape a line down the middle of your room and you're like, you can't cross this line or else I'm gonna like punch you or something like that. I'm gonna beat you up.
Don't need to be violent.
I'm not, well... this is PUBG.
It is. TSM down at Sosnovka Island once again. And we do have our circle. We haven't really spoken too much about it. A bit more on the eastern coast, so we will get something a bit different here for match number 2.
Well, this is going to be interesting because our playing path was very western and the circle has gone east, so not many teams were dropping inside of the circle, only a couple. So you're seeing some aggressive early rotations from QM. Rumblers were up by Kameshki. They're already making their way even all the way down to Lipovka. Microfry is down there, and you can see we've already got the warehouse here for QM. So I like what QM is doing this time. They're just trying to get center circle early, you know, gain some territory, regroup from that disaster of a first game.
And not just Lipovka, but Mansion, Prison, Split, and even Shelter to a degree, although Weifeng and Liga are there. Milta completely open. There's only Ribo at Farm for W-Click and no team in Milta Power. So yeah, that entire eastern coastline of Erangel is certainly open. It's going to make things interesting for any teams that want to sort of fat wrap down south and come in. They're going to want to look to come out to the east side. This is really good for TSM because they've got the Milta Bridge completely open as well. Michael's able to already come through to the Milta Beach, and they can actually push up to something like Lumber Mill, for example, and it's completely open. So I think this might end up being another good game for TSM and really utilizing the military-based looting to their advantage here.
Well, if no one else is going down there, it's not the end of the world. Nobody's really going to bridge camp too often early on in games because teams don't quite have a read on how you're rotating necessarily. You can't rely on scrims to decide if a team is always going to cross this bridge at a certain time or not. You have to wait until you see what they're doing in-game to try to make those reads. So early on, you can have a little bit of free access, especially with these southern, ended circles.
Genesis are going to leave Pachinki first, and they'll take all 4 of their boys inside of the UAZ and head on out. It's always nerve-wracking when all 4 are inside one vehicle. Fortunately, not too many players around their vicinity, although Sungjung close by to Potato Hill. Genesis are going to push right up here. I mean, this could be pretty disastrous for one or the other. I mean, if Sungjung can get a decent spray potential opportunity, it could go horribly wrong for Genesis. But I think they'll eventually sort of pull up and then they'll all get out and spread around and try and take Potato Hill.
Yeah, I think wisely there, Genesis just going to roll along the edge of the hill and easy.
They'll keep going.
Looking for some shots onto Lou. Nothing connecting there with that SLR, so just a few pot shots at him, just a little warning saying, hey, I'm here, but you can go.
I'm here. I'll give you a pass, though. Genesis keep moving. I think they potentially want to keep, obviously, finding more vehicles along the way, although they might get to a point where they might not even need them anymore. Profi will scout further up. Team Liquid just east of Potato Hill. Antis Force now making their way out of Pachinki. You can see all the way up north Stalba for Afrika Fakes. And as we were talking about before, it's going to be, I guess, considered normal for them to come in here really slow and really late.
Yeah, this is totally what they want to do. Of course, dropping in a very different location because of the plane path. They kind of bullied the Rumblers a little bit here out of Stalber, and they will loot up, take their time. One thing that I want to notice that I've been kind of noticing, Xenox, that's kind of interesting, is I've seen a few more bolts already in the hands of players. Now, I'm not sure if this is just because of loot randomness or if people saw what Drassel did yesterday with those bolts and they're
copying Drassel.
Maybe we can do that too, because he had one heck of a day.
Yeah, I think it was about 1,600 damage, if I remember correctly off the top of my head.
Something around that.
Something around that.
It was, I mean, it was a nutty day, and the bolts, obviously, it's going to be a lot harder to secure those kills and secure those points, but the trade-off is you can, open up a lot of space for your team.
Typically, you can have space on the team for one player to run a bolt.
Yes.
And the other 3 run the DMR, if you want, of course, run a bolt. But you're not going to have more than one, generally speaking. Michael inside of Milta. The rest of his team's going to slowly make their way over. Rory on the bridge. Gustav and Iro still at the crossroads on Sosnovka Island. 2.5 minutes till phase number 2. It should slowly start picking up as the game continues to progress. 4 AM in a decent position in the center of phase number 1 circle. Freaker Freaks are coming in earlier here, although they're up north. I wonder if they're going to go for a really long wrap down to something like Lumber Mill, all the way along the coast, past the Povka, past Mill to Power. Would that be something they would be interested in doing?
If they feel like they can get away with it, sure.
Or
But I think they're going to be slow and methodical. That's what we saw in the first game. Is they kind of have an idea of where the teams are, and I think they might have even heard the Sun Sisters driving in front of them across Yaz. So I think that might have got them to kind of halt up and realize that, okay, we're going to have to maybe not be as greedy as we would like.
W click just north of Milta, so TSM might have some company shortly. You can see Robo on the minimap, very close by to Michael, almost neighbors across the road. 1.5 minutes till phase 2. Total rankings, 18 points from that first game that was played already for Freaker Freaks, 16 for TSM, even though they got the win, and then 10 for 4 AM, rounding up the teams that are already in the double-digit points. The teams that are theoretically 9th to 16th, this needs to be a good game for them. It's a slow start, probably the slowest start we've had in the game, maybe all of PGC so far, because we haven't even had a death so far in the first 8 minutes.
Well, it's interesting because the circle shifted so far away from the plane path. Sometimes teams will kind of catch each other in transition, but the things just played out where that didn't happen. So right now we haven't had too much action at all. We still have all 64 players alive, a few shots taken here and there, but nothing major has happened,
And you say that's probably the case for the fact that teams like TSM, Rumblers taking safer options rather than more aggressive options. TSM going down to Sosnovka Island, Rumblers around the Povka to try and avoid that mayhem that might have happened from that plane path based on the circle. And so avoiding that means we get that start instead. 30 seconds till phase 2. Should really determine sort of the vicinity of where we might be heading. Of course, phase 1 in match number 1 sort of gave us a false hope of a Severny finish, and in the end it went back down to Pachinki.
I really like the setup that 4 AM and W-Click have here, these 2-2 splits. Ooh, Tixu though, uh-oh. He is all alone out here. Detonator has him completely surrounded.
My God.
They make short work of him.
Well, he did not stand a chance in hell. It was almost like they were hunting him down. Tixu will be the first death for match number 2 as we do get our circle pop for phase number 2. It's central. I mean, I don't think you could get more central than that. It's a nice clean donut.
Yeah, it's right in there. A little bit of water still on the southern end, but not much at all. And these two positions I was talking about from W-Quick and 4 AM are going to continue to be very, very strong. Crow Crowd looking like they're going to try to regroup. Here are the Sun Sisters rolling across the front of Waldo with this AK. He isn't able to really control the spray. Can he get the mini? No.
Wow, I'm surprised. I thought Kindesu might go for the run over. And Waldo unable to find even any damage there onto Sun Sister. He'll get in his UAZ and head off for Rumblers. They're around prison. I mean, you could take Pride Rockets available. It's a decent spot. I'm actually surprised that no team has actually taken Lumber Mill. Maybe a case of thinking that it's already been taken. The Freaker Freaks on the move. They're going down south of Lipovka now. They might end up rotating into it, like I said before.
Yeah, just like you were talking about, but this is a really, I think, nice move here by the Freaks, being methodical about it, not getting caught in transition, letting the other teams do their thing, watching them and waiting for their moment to take a position that might be more beneficial to them. And, you know, a little bit of fighting here and there, but still not much. We've only had one player taken out.
Yeah, decent from TSM. They've been really patient so far down in Milta, understanding that they've really got most of this south side of the zone to themselves, except for Farm. Farm's interesting right now. We've got Crow Crowd and AHQ both inside of it. You can just see it on the mini-map there. But of course, as we saw before, they lost Tixu, so it's only 3 for Crow Crowd.
Yeah, Crow Crowd, a team that coming into this had an explosive last couple weeks in the PEL, got themselves here, and so far we haven't talked about them much today, but we've only gone through one game, and to start off this game, the only thing we had to say was a little not the best for them.
No, not the best. You want to be getting the kills, not being killed. And before Freaker Freaks just pulling up actually south of Lumber Mill. They've just gone past Mini Milta Power. And again, it continues to be slow and methodical for most of these teams. Forever, though, nice knockdown onto Ribbo, trying to get up to the top level of the Wizzy Tower. ZGG was the one who technically got the knockdown, but Forever did most of the damage. Silzen down below has the smokes, but the smoke doesn't cover the entirety of that top stairwell.
No, and these Wizard Towers are quite easy to get grenades in if 4 AM felt like pushing up on it. Now, right now, it doesn't even matter. Jeez. Forever again with an incredible splays.
And that's what I was saying. It's so risky. yes, the bottom stairwell is covered, but you'll actually be spotted as you're just turning the corner, and it's so much time to then get from the middle section of the stairwell into the top of the Wizzy Tower. Well played from Forever. And now he can push up and he can clean them, and he knows there's only going to be 2 there as Harold tries his very best with the 3 times on the mini, but they've lost 2 there for W-Click.
Yep, and this is going to be Zilzin getting taken down as well. So 4AM continuing a strong start here, looking to be kind of the hope for China. They're the most popular team in China now. We kind of talked about early on maybe that Infantry might be a team we were looking for, but yesterday just was not their day, and I don't...
so he's trying to get, I think he wants to get the, so you want to get the smoke to land right where he's standing, basically, so that it blocks the top end of the stairwell so he can loot. But he kept bouncing out. Let's head to the map because 5 seconds away from phase number 3. I'm expecting another shift here, Paper. Does it come? Not
no,
quite.
just dead center.
Wow, 4AM on Shelter are getting a decent feed here for match number 2.
Now, 4AM, what are they going to do? Are they going to group up around Shelter? Sometimes Shelter can be a little bit dicey. You don't want to go inside of it because you can get trapped in there way too easily.
I mean, we've all seen a Shelter finish by now and how hectic it can be. Do you go in? Do you go up top? Generally, the teams that go underneath Shelter don't fare best.
No, it's hard because when the circle starts closing in, let's say the final circle is somewhere on top of Shelter, it's really hard to find a spot on the bottom that
Lazarus
isn't inside a wall.
And Team Liquid in a Mad Max scenario right now. James cuts off Perdicote, who's actually going to get set outside of the USC, lights him up with the AK, but he goes prone. He actually doesn't get knocked down. Jepty fires back, but it's Alo with a knockdown to Beezer with a headshot. James with the barrel, but 3 down for Liquid. Lazarus are about to send them backing in last place. Team Liquid have just been shattered.
Another huge disappointment for Liquid. Lazarus with a huge team fight, but 4AM's Lou is going to make Purdy Curdy pay for it. Great move by Lazarus to pull up early. What a performance from them so far today. They do lose 2 in that situation, and here is the shooting from Forever. Another incredible spray from him.
That was Forever holding the angle. He was holding it almost forever, pun intended, but Team Liquid, not the start to the day they would be liking to have seen. But Lazarus, though, crucial points. If you go back to, theoretically, the first 10 minutes of match 1, it looked like a horrible start for one of the best teams in North America, and since then, it's been all daisy and sunshine. They're up to 4th now in the total rankings. They've cracked double digits, 11 points. And look who's in 14th on just 1 point. Now out of the game, it's Team Liquid. Long ways to go, I know, for games, Paper, but for Europe's hopes, not good.
It's not looking great so far. Team Liquid, a historically dominant team in competitive PUBG. Another struggle for them. Here is Detonator. They are making long rotations from Primorse, so they're coming in late on the south end of this circle. They've got TSM on their right. They've got Crow Crowd on their left. Can they find an angle to maneuver in here? Looks like they might even try to bust TSM out of this position. You can see Aqua 5 rolling in. Those grenades are just too far.
TSM have got the high ground advantage, but for now, if they keep pushing up to the yellows, it'll make it more even. But Michael and the rest of the crew want to just back out of this, go further in towards the circle, get a better position, maybe even get more high ground. They'll give up the yellows for now. Detonator sort of bully them out of there. As Atletico now push up to one of the Shelter entrances next to 4AM. I like this push. It's aggressive. They can hold the entrance. You don't want to necessarily go and bury yourself too deep underground, but stay around that entrance point. Control it.
This is going to be a really important moment for 4AM if Atletico continues to try to push on them, because 4AM has opted to maintain this aggressive 2-2 split for this phase. Of course, we're only in phase 3, and typically it's around phase 4 or 5 where we will see teams condense. And I think now these other 2 members of 4AM should condense back down to Wayless and Forever and maintain that position. A really smart, patient play from our Chinese team.
Yeah, they've played this really well. They'll group up, just like you said. And really, for Atletico, if they sort of realize this, they might want to move as well, because you do not want to be holding that top spot so far up north. But now Sting Divine have made their way here as well. Atletico, I think, are going to be in the thick of it maybe by the end of this phase. Nade from Michael. They've come back over towards the yellows. I'm not sure why. They had the position on the other side of the road, as you can see. Extreme with the knockdown to Jet of Sting Divine. Like I mentioned, they pushed in. Atletico holding that entrance, gives them vantage point, and they got the knockdown because of it. Wicked pushing up towards Crow Crowd. They already had one exchange between these 2 teams. It did not go well for Crow Crowd. They lost Tixu.
Big moment here for Detonator's Wicked. He's all alone, as we want to know from him. Wicked coming up over the hill. Nookie is up there as well as Misa. Is he going to get the drop on them? Is he quiet enough? Or he's going to back off? He heard some shots, and I think he might have thought, I don't want any of this. And look, Nookie heard it as well. He's looking over there, and I think this is very wise by Wicked. Right now is not the time to get in a battle and regroup with your team.
It's almost like a game of cat and mouse. Who's going to pick who? In the end, neither. Indigo with a knockdown onto Profi, though. Enters Force versus Genesis, two of the big dogs toe-to-toe. Nade thrown from H-Win. Sungjung, though, patient here, and this is where Korea generally shines. They are very patient in this scenario. They won't rush this scenario. H-Win, though, sees them. Sungjung, he held the ground. He got the knockdown because of it.
That's 2 knock for Genesis. K-Mine's going to find Indigo with a grenade, but Duya's going to find H-Win. Only one member standing, but now Genesis gets eliminated.
That was so clean from OGN enters for Sungjung. Didn't panic. He was in such an open area. A lot of players would panic and think they could get spotted, but he held his ground, held his nerve, and in the end, Genesis stood no chance.
And he could hear all the footsteps from Genesis, was able to feed the information to the rest of the force. They span out, find the angles, and wipe them out almost cleanly. They only get one member knocked in the process.
I think we can now safely crown the winners of Pachinki. It's OGN enters Force, Liquid out in 16th, Genesis out in 15th. Blood Wicked eliminated by Liga as Dookie spotted Wicked. That should probably be the end of Wicked. Hikari and Aqua 5 are close by. Do they engage on this fight, though, to save their teammate? He's already going to bleed out. Never mind, Nookie with the nade will finish him anyway and kind of make the decision for them, although they might stick around.
They might want to take this fight. We'll see if they feel confident that they've got a good position. HQ rolling up on the backside of Crow Crowd. Misa taking a lot of damage here, down to 23 health. He's got the boost going. It's going to help a little bit, but Lani comes in. He finishes out Misa. There is just Teme with a nice rip, though, to get a little revenge.
Crow Crowd running out of players, though. They've only got 2 left. Need to get the finish onto Yanli. CC holding the back row. Milk, though, is going to get the nice flank on the Nookie. Oh, he vaults at the wrong time. Milk double kill. And Crow Crowd fall in 14th position. A nice push in the end from AHQ.
That was really almost completely clean. They only lost 1 knock in the process. Should be able to get that revive unless the Detonators push in on it. QM has now taken up a position of their own on the north side of Shelter, rolling in behind Athletico. You can see Detonator not really wanting to push too far in this. The Sun Sisters still 4 up. This has been kind of the name of the game for the Japanese team. Quiet but steady. Can they make this work better than their other Japanese team, the Rascal Jesters?
Look at that zone. It's actually decent as well for Rumblers, who have been off to an amazing start here for match 2 and day number 2. Currently sitting inside of the top 8, representing North America as the last entry team. TSM move up to Oizi Tower. They've been pretty comfortable pretty much for most of this game. The first 9.5 minutes, now they'll start getting shot at.
Yeah, it looks like 4AM taking some shots at them. 4AM with a nice split here. They've got a ton of control over this circle. It is looking really, really good for them, Xenox. And now we've got Force. They have got to plow through W-click now. Herald's going out ahead and so much fire coming in. Good. You can see how much of this that 4AM can see. And now Ragnar trying to push through too, but he's forced out of his vehicle with a nice spray from Duya.
He's had to stop as well. I think he wants to heal. Now he's got to deal with the weapons support. Never mind. Xiaolu with a knockdown onto Ragnar. And Entis Force don't actually have to worry about him at all now. They might even steal the kill away and say thank you very much, 4AM. Of course, I don't think they realized just yet who was actually knocked down. Aqua 5 with a knockdown onto CC. You can see both TSM and 4AM looking over towards AHQ. As Michael will pick up the elimination for TSM. Aqua 5 inside of the blue now. 2 still to deal with in front of him. Gets tagged from Michael. That will be the end of Detonator in 13th position. 12 teams remain, 39 alive is easy, knocked down by Turtle. Up north, Athletico and amongst it as well. Over towards Shelter. It's 2 down for QM, 2 up.
All right, can Athletico hold this position? Extreme has been knocked by Nikki from Divine. Zoidmate here trying to see if he can find a way.
He landed that.
He landed that shot. That was almost a knock, just short of finding the headshot there. QM putting some shots into Lazarus as well. Uncivil going down.
Luke 12, last one alive for Lazarus. They've been very slowly taken apart as the game has progressed. 4 up still for QM as Entus Force continue to basically force their way into this circle. They haven't stopped as NN's going to be knocked down by Michael. Entus Force finally come to a standstill. The USC blows up right in front of them. CGG spots Doya. They haven't quite got the angles though. These trees are helping. Zoid and Duty for Atletico though are dealing with QM up north. Over towards the shelter entrance. Look how low both of them are.
Atletico is completely pinned inside of the shelter. This is why it is so risky to go down in there. Now, if they can find a way to push out, there's easy. He is holding down the angle, trying to buy some time so they can get GYY. A grenade from Luke, though, is going to clean that one up.
The old teammate of Atletico. Has he come to save the day, potentially? Easy. And Liga in the blue. Dukesy double kill. And Atletico comes scrambling out of shelter, but all they are met with is fire from even Luke 12, their old teammate. Turtle knocked out onto Dukesy. Zoid made it to the shack. He gets the heal off potentially. Atletico need points here. They only just then got off the bottom. They go out 10.
All right, Wayless taking some shots at Milk, one of the surviving members of AHQ, cutting across here. There has been a knock on day 4 AM. This is Songjong out-dueling Milk. A great spray with the M4. Great control at that 3x.
If you thought Entus Ace were good, these guys are even better. Paper. Songjong, though, goes down to Turtle. Rumblers out in 9th. 8 teams remain. We're into the placement points now for match number 2.
All right, Iroh and Rory versus 2 members of AFF. No, Style is going down, so just Lambu up. It is going to be a 2v1. Can he hold this? He's got the smoke on his left, but he comes over the hill and Rory outduels him.
Sun Sister are just above this as well. It's not over yet for TSM. They're not out of the woods. Although Sun Sister a bit further away. Up north, Doya still alive here for Entus Force. Sting Divine hanging around. So is Luke 12. Needs to find a position to move into this next circle. He kind of wants Doya's position.
Here comes Sun Sister, just like you were talking about, Xenox. A little slow on the push.
Nice.
TSM is going to get the revives here, but Kendesu trying to get some nades up and over. A little bit of damage done to Rory and Gustav. Rory almost going down there. Kendesu coming up. Viachan on the flank. Gustav and Iroh trying to hold this down. A decent spray, but he's taking a lot of damage. Viachan not able to get that.
Double knock in favor of Sun Sister. Nade throw. No, never mind. It's a smoke towards Viachan. Knocked down by Rory. He's got the angle there, hiding, prone, but he's not going to be able to survive much longer. Michael was all that was left, and Gabba spots him. Headshot. Sun Sister clean and precise for the Japanese team into the top 5 because Luke 12 just got spotted for Lazarus out in 6th.
And that's got to be a big confidence booster for the #1 team coming out of the PJS. They only lose 1 member in that fight, pick up 4 big points for themselves, and they are guaranteed at least a 4th place finish.
Man, it's so top heavy right now. The teams that did well in match 1, 4 AM are still around here as well. Look at the rankings, already 3 teams up into the 20s after just 2 matches. Crazy Sam knocked down, so is Gabba, Kendesu. All that remains for Sun Sister. 4 angry men are running riot here in Los Angeles.
They're waiting for the right time to strike. They held the position, and now they're going for third parties to clean up their angles. They are looking to eliminate the Sun Sisters here. Kendesu, good spray there. Is going to get way less. Can he confirm it? No, there were some shots coming from his left. CGG is going to prone right down. Kendesu tries to pre-fire, is not able to land it.
He knows he's close by. That's why he was peeking and pre-firing, but he didn't know how close. Now he spots him prone. Double kill for Kendesu, and Sun Sister up to 7 kills now, and they've just wiped out half of 4 AM. It's now down to just 2 angry men. Never mind. They might actually get a revive. I might have gone too early.
I thought maybe Wayless was going to go down here, but both teams are going to opt to trade the revives. But Angry Men do have the position closer to the circle. Let's not forget about Divine at the top.
Well, at first, he was actually running with Forever towards the Wheezy Tower. Then he thought, actually, you know what? If Wayless says it's a safe res, it's a safe res. They get him back up. But for Sun Sister, they get the revive on the Crazy Sam as well.
Yeah, this is really nice play here from Sun Sisters. 4 AM continuing to control the middle of this circle. Can Divine find a way to spoil this from the excellent play so far from 4 AM? Some really good shot calling from them, some really good decision making overall. And yeah, God V, Wayless, same guy, they're back.
Sting Divine into the top 8 now with the points that have been tallied up for them. Can they find any more here? Wayless, though, got revived. Sun Sister may not be aware that he's actually held this position. He's just inside of the circle. Crazy Sam and Kendesu need to keep moving forward. They basically have to move straight past him. And Forever and Xiaolu are going to have the angle as well. They're watching from that Wizzy Tower. It's going to be very tough. Oh, Kendesu spotted him in the grass.
I was just about to say, how good is the Sun Sisters map knowledge? Very good. Kendesu knew right where Wayless would be.
They knew they got the revive, and they knew that he would stay there. And now it is definitely down to 2 angry men. It's Forever and Xiaolu that remain. The crows are in hand as well for Forever. 3 up for Sting Divine, and so it's a 3 versus 2 versus 2 here for match number 2. Day number 2.
All right, here come the smokes, the last of them for Sun Sisters. A lot of utility spent, but are there any inside of this crate for them? Didn't quite to get to see if, okay, Kendesu does find some more smokes here. You can see him. He picked them up in his hand, so that's a nice little find for them. They're going to be able to build a bit of a bridge for themselves with those. Lou trying to hold down the angle, and Divine just continues to try to hold the north side of the circle, maintain this ridge, and keep high ground advantage.
Well, Forever can't watch both angles. So they've got to decide, do they go and look towards Sting Divine or Sun Sister? 8 kills now for Sun Sisters. Oh, Kendesu knocked down by Xiaolu. They needed that. Kendesu's been the one that's got them even towards this scenario of a top 3 finish. I think this will be the end for Crazy Sam and Sun Sister. And unfortunately, their dream run comes to an end here in match 2. 11 kills now for 4 AM. And now find themselves in a 2 versus 3 with Sting Divine.
Well, I tell you what, the sprays have been really crisp from Lou and Forever. They're looking really, really strong. If they can find an early knock somehow onto Divine, they could absolutely win this 3v2. But Divine still has a bit of utility left. How much has 4 AM spent here? That's the real question, because they've been battling out for a little while now.
They have been. Utility would be low. No nades for Turtle. No smokes either. As we get that next circle pop, necessarily speaking, doesn't favor anyone too much, in my opinion.
All right, Levi's is going to try his last frag. It comes up short, but he's still got a couple smokes there. You can see Forever's got that ghillie suit, finding that crate that was on the back end, so that's a lot of nice utility, getting those level 3 vests. And he's got, oh boy, look what he's got in his hands, Xenox. That's a great gun to have at the end of this.
Certainly would be. If it gets close to it, there is a crate out in that field as well. The Toby eye tracking just to see how Forever is going to be scanning the field. Sees the smoke, spots the head of Levi, but he can't take it off. It's Nicky who lands the shot onto Forever. Down to half health, goes for the quick heal. SLR with the 4 times is quite deadly, and now Turtle can move up because they know they're getting the heal on Forever. Xiaolu needs to help out here and probably push up closer towards Forever. He can't deal the 1 versus 2 by himself, or maybe he can. He's pretty good. That's going to be the final nade. No, never mind. It's a flash grenade thrown in. It might connect. He lost Xiaolu at the back of the Wizzy Tower. Well played from Turtle. Going to get the double as well. Yes, he can. Turtle comes up for Sting Divine Esports, and they will pick up their first win at PGC.
I was wondering if that Grozo was going to come into play, but no. Turtle just gets it done quickly and efficiently. A great wrap around the south end of that circle there for Divine. Divine. And it is going to be a win for them, but I got to give a lot of credit to 4 AM. 11 kills. I thought they played that incredibly crisply.
Oh, certainly so. 4 AM, not too upset with that performance. They had 11 kills. They finished second place. They would have got more points out of this game than even Sting Divine. A similar scenario to sort of a Freak of Freaks from match number 1 and TSM. And 4 AM now sitting comfortably in the top 3 after 2 matches. I'll be happy with that.
I loved what we saw from the Japanese team. Took a couple of big fights, getting a ton of kills for themselves here. That was 8 kills for the Sun Sisters. The best round we've seen from a Japanese team so far here. And they got to be really happy with